I want to give you an idea of how you should be drawing graphs in Physics 251 and in 252. So here I've taken an example. Say you do a lab and you've generated data. Let's suppose it's time and displacement. And you want to plot displacement versus time. You can choose the values that you have to plot, and you say insert, and you can get to the charts here, and we would prefer a scatter plot, so you click that. So now you have a graph, and you want to make sure you want to do a trend line to this. So right click on the points and choose add trend line. And if a graph, well, it's showing linear, obviously it's not linear, perhaps it's a quadratic curve, so I'll choose polynomial, and order 2, that's your quadratic polynomial. And you want to see the equation on the chart, so you say display equation on chart, and then you display R-squared value, right? So click that. And so when you see the R-squared value, 0.9999, it's rather close to 1. That's the correlation coefficient. When it's 1, it's a perfect fit. The quadratic fit is the perfect fit for this data. That's what this is telling you. And you can make sense of what all the various coefficients here means, depending on whatever that you're trying to get out of your data, right? And the rest of it, you want to make sure there is a title, and the title should always be what's on the y-axis versus what's on the x-axis. So in this case, I've got displacement on the y and time on x. So here, if you want to go ahead, you want to say displacement versus time. Okay, so always y versus x, and that's what you do. And now we want to make sure the axes are labeled and there are units in them. So if you go up here and click design, I have already, it's already there. I'm on design. So you look at add chart element. So if you go down there, axes titles, primary horizontal, that's what I want it to be time. Make sure you always include units in there. And then you want to put your y-axis, primary vertical, and that's your displacement. Units in meters. So I've got that. So whenever you are giving a graph, right, make sure that there is always an equation and an R-squared value. You've picked the correct fit for that. Make sure about it. It should be what's on the y-axis versus what's on the x-axis. And make sure the axes are always labeled and units are included.